Thank you for joining us on this episode of EideCast. Is this thing on? My name is Mary Weiss, and I am here with Alex Edwards.
Good
Hello.
morning.
Thank you for joining me.
Yes.
What do you do at Vern Eide?
So I'm at the Vern Eide Mitsubishi Parts Department.
Okay.
So yeah.
And in the parts department, what does a day-to-day role look like for you?
Day to day, I would say the biggest task is we go through the used vehicles that we took on trade or wholesale, if you will.
Okay.
And getting them fixed up and selecting the parts, and that's the bulk of it, I would say. And then you have your customers that come in that are getting worked on their vehicles, and then we touch quick lube, department too. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you always been in parts, or have you been in other positions within Vern Eide before?
Okay, so I was at Vern Eide Motoplex.
Okay.
That's where I originally started, and then that was in 22, July 22, and then I came over to Mitsubishi in February of 23.
Okay.
So,
very nice.
Yeah.
What did you do at Motoplex?
Motoplex, I was up in accounting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
so it's kind of a
kind of a
shift
shift.
there.
So yeah, yep. So,
how long have you been with Vern Eide then altogether? Since 22?
So yeah, since July of 22.
Okay.
So creeping up on 3 years.
Very nice.
Yeah, yeah.
What did you do before you were at Vern Eide?
Oh man. So that's I pretty much just bleeding orange all day with Little Caesars.
Mm-hmm.
So was with Little Caesars for a long time.
Okay.
It was like my first official job when I was 17.
Okay.
So I always did like work for our neighbors and whatnot, and finally got involved with Little Caesars when I was 17, and did that up until August of last year.
Okay.
So basically sold the franchise in August of 2024.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Is there anything that has like kind of crossed over for you between the two different places that like you wouldn't think about, or not necessarily?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you were in accounting at Motoplex.
Motoplex. Yep.
How did you get into accounting?
So honestly, transitioning away from Little Caesars, right? The part that I always enjoyed for the longest time was the number side of everything. Getting to the core of what's going on. The financial side.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that side of it a lot.
Okay.
And so when I was looking around, and they had a position open, I used to race ATVs, like motocross, right?
Nice.
From when I was 17 to 20, so always kind of enjoyed that industry. And there was a position open, and just everything kind of aligned, and so that's kind of how I got over there. But yeah, just always kind of had a passion for the motorsports.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And then growing up, where are you from originally?
So Rapid City.
Okay.
Yep. Grew up in Rapid, and moved to Spearfish with Caesars in 09. So I've always been kind of West River. So we moved here to Sioux Falls back in 2021.
Okay.
So,
very nice.
Yeah.
And then you're married and have how many kids?
Yep. So we have my daughter Lennox.
Okay.
So she'll be 10 this year. And then my stepdaughter just turned 18 in January.
Oh, fun.
So
very nice.
Yeah.
How did you meet your wife?
Through Wells Fargo.
Okay.
Little Caesars. So
Okay.
I banked there. And yeah. So back in Spearfish. So yeah, and she's from Seattle, Washington.
Oh, wow.
And she moved, her mom decided to move to Belle Fourche, South Dakota, when she was 13 or 14, I think.
Okay.
So.
Very nice. Yeah. What brought you to Sioux Falls then?
So that question is a good one. Grew up in Rapid, right? I'm at Caesars, just kind of gravitating towards just doing something different, right? So my stepdaughter, Maddie, her dad is the general manager of Motoplex. Okay. So long story short, I just hit the mic.
That's okay.
Sorry, guys. Long story short, Nick was living in Minnesota when he worked for Polaris. Okay. And then he transitioned over to Sioux Falls, and we have a really good relationship with Nick. And when he moved to Sioux Falls, he was talking about how much he enjoyed it, and I was kind of to the point with the business where it's like, I don't know, maybe we gravitate somewhere else
Yeah.
and just try something new.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what brought us here was kind of, honestly, Nick,
Yeah.
just trying something different. And it's not like it was that far of a move because at that time I couldn't be super far from the store, if you will.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
so that's what brought us over here.
What have you enjoyed about moving to Sioux Falls? Like, what are some of the things that are a little bit different here that...
Not everybody knows you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just say that like coming from Spearfish, we're talking 12,000 people. So if you go to Walmart to go get groceries, you're going to run into like 10 people.
Yeah.
And not that was a horrible thing, chatting with people and catching up, but sometimes it's just kind of nice to just go somewhere and not run into the same people.
Yeah, especially when like you're in the middle of the night and you're maybe just like, oh, I just quick threw on sweatpants and I'm running out, and then you see somebody, you're like, I did not want to see you right now.
Exactly.
Because that definitely happens sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, no, it's just nice being in a bigger city and you don't have to drive. That was a big thing. Was always driving to Rapid.
Yeah.
You need anything, typically you had to go to Rapid because there wasn't a lot of options in Spearfish. So
yeah,
that's kind of been nice. And the food, there's just a million restaurants and there's some things to do.
Very nice.
So, yeah.
Do you have a favorite place to eat in Sioux Falls then, or?
Oh, that's a good question.
Little Caesars.
Little Caesar, right? Besides pizza, let me think here. For a place in Sioux Falls, 2210's really good. That's a good restaurant.
That's over on like Western, 69th and Western, right?
69th and Western. That one's a good spot. Gosh, I'm really trying to think. I'm kind of on the spot here for food.
Sorry.
My daughter always loves Subway.
Okay.
So we're still stuck on Subway and Little Caesars.
That was like my favorite as a kid. Like one year for my birthday, Mom was like, "Where do you want to go for dinner?" I'm like, "Subway." Like that was all I wanted. Subway was my favorite. So
that's perfect. Yeah. Lennox gets a cold cut combo.
Okay.
Lettuce, black olives, pickles, ranch.
Oh.
It hasn't changed since she was 4.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That was pretty much my go-to order as a kid. So I relate absolutely. It's just good taste. What is something that you've noticed with working at Vern Eide? Like, what's something that you really enjoy, or?
I mean, honestly, there are a lot of good people. I will say that was the hardest thing of owning a small business is the people. It's really, really tough to find solid people. Yeah. And I feel like there's a lot of solid people at Vern Eide. I just think like on the management side, it's kind of starting higher up. I mean, Jim's really involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bruce Van den Bosch is around everywhere. Then our Bruce in parts, he's there. But I think just overall, everyone that you deal with throughout the day, you don't really run into a cranky person.
Yeah, everybody seems to be pretty good mood and happy to be there.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So I think that's the big one. There is, I think overall, there really is a good culture. I think people just everyone's allowed to have a bad day, and sometimes you wear it on your sleeve. Yeah. It is what it is.
Exactly. Yeah, I'd say not everybody can be kind of on all the time. Yeah. So as long as you have a little grace.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's really cordial. So
in the parts department, what is your favorite part?
Okay, everybody probably already knows this, or anybody that knows me knows this. Okay. Selling tires. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, I'm big. I honestly enjoy when somebody comes up to the counter and just wants a quote on tires. Yeah. Because it's kind of a challenge. Like, is it? Can I sell them the tires? Can I find the right tire? Yeah. For the price. And what's
something that goes into like finding the right tires? Okay, this sounds so bad, but I just like leave that to my husband.
Right.
It's like what goes into that?
Honestly, so West River, Spearfish, a lot of ice, like a lot of ice, a lot of snow. So I've always had snow tires, so you rotate them out, right? Don't necessarily have to do that, but it makes a big difference, right? So when someone's buying a tire, I always ask them, we're in South Dakota. Do you want something that works better on snow and ice? And if they say yes, that's, you can really reel them in on like a Falcon Acclimate, spend a little more money and get a Michelin Cross Climate or a Goodyear Weather Ready 2. Okay. So I know I'm kind of nerding out on tires, but I don't know. It's like a new pair of shoes. Yeah. Because if you are on a really bad tire and it's shot, as soon as you put new tires on, it's going to make a huge difference. Yeah. But especially on the, unlike the snow and ice, like Crystal and IT,
Mm-hmm.
She has a rear-wheel drive Dodge Charger, and she wanted tires.
Yeah.
So I was praying, it's like if you can make it work with the Michelin Cross Climb, it's like it's going to be a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
And it was.
Yeah,
so,
good.
Kind of exciting.
I need new tires. Don't look at mine when you walk by.
Okay.
I was supposed to get new tires last week actually, and didn't do that. So don't look at my tires; they're so bad. Okay, so when you're not at work, what are some things that you enjoy doing?
Enjoy being outside.
Okay.
Definitely yard work, right? A lot of bike rides. Lennox loves bike rides.
Okay.
So we go on a lot of bike rides. Playing basketball. My friend Brett invited me to Ultimate Frisbee.
Oh, yeah.
Last summer.
How was that?
So that was fun.
Okay.
Not fun when the college kids who are 20 show up.
Uh-huh.
They're a little faster.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no.
Humbles you a little bit. You realize like, oh, I'm not as young as I once
I'm 38.
was.
Yeah, exactly.
Funny. Did you grow up playing basketball or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So basketball, soccer, baseball, kind of did all three.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back, I kind of wish I would have stuck with soccer.
Okay.
Maybe that would have went somewhere.
Okay.
So played that in high school. My dad bought 4-wheelers one summer, and soccer kind of took the push to the side.
Yeah.
And then that's what kind of got me into racing quads. So
okay.
Yeah. Yep.
That's so fun though. I mean, it's always stinks when you're like, I wish I could just do so much more or like do it all equally.
Right.
But there's just not enough time for that. And
There's not.
It stinks sometimes.
There's not.
But
No. Yeah. Had a lot of good times with that. Got to travel a bit. Was really good friends with a couple brothers, Charlie and Riley. They raced. We had a chance to get out to California.
Okay.
To go to Glen Helen, which is a pretty big track. So like ATV racing, the pros are there, like the top pros, but then all the amateurs. So it's pretty cool to be on the same track. You know what I mean? So that was the fun part of it. Got to go there. And then there was a national in Illinois that Chad Weenan, he's kind of my favorite racer of all time. I got to do that race a couple times. So
very nice.
Very fun.
So your birthday did just happen. When was your birthday?
March 31st.
Okay. Very exciting.
Do you want to hear some fun facts about birthdays and how the world works?
Yeah, I would love to.
So I think I'm where I'm supposed to be in life because Maddie, my stepdaughter, her birthday was January 25th.
Okay.
Well, that's Chad Weenan's birthday.
Oh,
January
fun.
25th.
Okay.
So kind of crazy. And then with Little Caesars, most of the time you talk about Little Caesars, it's always pepperoni is what comes to mind for people.
Yeah.
And my daughter Lennox, she was born September 20th.
Okay.
National Pepperoni Pizza Day.
Yeah.
So kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then when we sold the store, that was my older sister's birthday was like the last day we operated.
Okay.
Was August 26th.
So you can always kind of remember those dates easily just because of all the connections to them.
Kind of interesting.
What national day your birthday is? Did you look that up?
Bryce was looking it up, I think, when it happened.
Okay.
And I can't remember if there's anything cool going on that day.
Are you a books guy, a music guy, or a movie guy?
Oh, movies.
Movies?
Yes.
Okay, what kind of movies?
Mostly comedy,
okay.
I would say. You have Office Space.
Yeah.
Tommy Boy.
Okay.
That's why I have the Callahan metal tin sign on the wall next to me. That was like the first thing I hung up on the first day was the Callahan auto parts sign.
Don't be mad at me. I've never seen Tommy Boy or Office
really?
Space. I've heard of them, and I know. Okay, so I actually quote Tommy Boy all the time because he says, "I'm a fat man in a little suit" or something.
Oh,
right?
Yes.
Is that it?
Yes.
So I do quote that one a lot, but I've never actually seen it.
You're gonna have to watch that tonight.
I'll have to, because I have heard great things about it with Chris Farley, right? Who's
Chris Farley.
Okay,
yeah. I think if you work for a car dealership, that should be a
training check off thing, orientation thing.
For sure. Yeah, I was looking for the right word. But yeah.
I'll try and find it.
Watch Tommy Boy.
Because I have heard wonderful things about it.
Yes.
What are your top 5 then? So you have Office Space
Office Space, that's a good one. Tommy Boy. Have you heard of Almost Heroes with Chris Farley? Kind of a cheesy movie, but it is pretty funny. Almost Heroes is a good one. Billy Madison is pretty good. Yeah, that's a gimme. What's another good one? Oh, The Big Short.
I have heard of that. I don't think I've ever seen it though.
Really good movie.
Okay.
Basically talks about Michael Burry
Mm-hmm.
and the guy who figured out that the housing market was going to completely collapse.
Okay.
So that one's pretty cool.
Okay.
That one's pretty cool.
Is that one still a comedy too, or is that one a little different?
Not really.
Okay.
So, yeah, that one just really opens your eyes a little bit.
Totally.
Yeah, how the housing market worked, and yeah, so that one's pretty good.
Okay, I'll have to check out that one too.
Yeah.
I'm like the worst. I have not seen so many movies that people like are just like, these are classics,
Right.
like Dumb and Dumber. I haven't watched.
Dumb and Dumber. Yeah.
And I'm being told I missed out a lot, and I should watch it. I just.
Have you seen Liar Liar with Jim Carrey? That one's pretty solid. Where he's the lawyer.
I feel like I have watched bits and pieces. I just don't have like a best attention
Yeah.
span, so
Yeah.
it's hard for me. Maybe that's why I don't watch them. What are like 3 words you would use to describe yourself?
Ooh, patient.
Okay.
I like to think that I'm kind.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah. Patient, kind. Gosh, what's another good one? This is hard.
Put you on the spot.
Patient, kind. Calculated.
Okay.
More calculated than I should be. Maybe I should work for an insurance company.
Like you just really kind of think of all of your moves and what you're going to do and how
Yeah.
it's going to impact long term. I
Right.
don't think that's a bad thing. I would say I'm kind of a calculated person too.
Yeah.
'Cause you
And
think about the consequences or the
Right.
effect of it. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm an overthinker for sure.
yeah.
You know. But yeah, maybe a little too calculated.
Okay.
And just always looking at like you're gonna do something.
Mm-hmm.
What's gonna happen after
Yeah.
that?
That's a planner. You're a planner.
Yeah, I'm a planner. I'm a natural planner.
Yes.
I had a talk about 4-wheelers, and when I say calculated, I have had some pretty close calls.
Mm-hmm.
When I was riding in the woods by my parents' house on
Mhm.
on the quad, I was with my friend Mike Schob, and he had one as well. And we were riding around, and we kind of made our own little track, and we were hitting this jump, and this was like my first year riding, so getting confident with like doing jumps and whatnot. Well, I had jumped on this one natural part, and my right hand blew off the handlebar.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to grab my clutch. I'm trying to like get back on the quad and like get control.
Yeah.
Well, I end up having to kind of bail.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have a tether connected to it.
Yeah.
And when that tether disconnects, the quad dies.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, it kind of rolls to the side. If I would have gone 100 feet further, I didn't realize on that side, there's like 100-foot cliff.
Oh boy.
So cheated that one.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's that or making decisions at Little Caesars
Yeah.
have made me like so calculated. Like if I do this, what's going to be the repercussion?
Yeah.
Will it be good or bad?
I'm sure there's been a lot of things that have just opened your eyes where like, oh, I kind of really do need to take a second and think about it.
Oh, totally.
That was a question I was going to actually ask you is, have you had any injuries or accidents with quad racing?
Yes. And it's so funny because I do think about this. I got rid of the boot a long time ago, but I think I was 20 or 19 when I broke my right ankle.
Okay.
I know it sounds really dumb that I can't remember. It was my right or left ankle. I broke it.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of came up short on a jump and like framed out on the top of the landing. So didn't go quite far enough. That one wasn't horrible. I was on crutches for like, I don't even think it was 3 months.
Okay.
And then like a boot for 3 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, no risks, nothing else. I don't know. Can you call it is a concussion an injury?
Yeah. Yeah.
Got a pretty nasty concussion my second year of racing in Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Hit the ground, woke up eventually. I kind of remember walking back to the truck, and it's so funny. I can kind of remember asking my friend Zane maybe 10 times, like, how did I wreck?
Yeah.
How did I wreck? And he's like, where are we racing, Al? I was like, Pier? He's like, he went and got my dad. He was like, yeah, we're in Nebraska.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I was like
out of it.
Way out.
That's scary.
So, my dad didn't ask a lot of questions when I went to the hospital. But, so I had a pretty good concussion.
Yeah.
I slept the whole way home, which you're not supposed to do. So, maybe that's what's wrong with me. I slept too long when I had a concussion. I didn't really advise him of anything. But yeah, no, I like slept for like the 4-hour ride home,
Oh boy.
which you're definitely not supposed to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's what happened to me.
What is a misconception people might have about working in parts or the parts department?
So it's that department where I swear if somebody comes in
Mm-hmm.
and like is passing by, we're always just there.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem like anything's really happening. But honestly, there's more than you think,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I think for who I am, like it's always double checking stuff.
Yeah.
Because we have Zoom,
Mm-hmm.
so we'll have technicians Zoom us individually. Like Bill will just straight up shoot me a message,
Mm-hmm.
or he'll go through the shared group,
Mm-hmm.
and then between parts and service, we have a group chat for that.
Mm-hmm.
You have emails, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have body shop quotes coming in. And then on top of it, we got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the Mitsubishi trucks here dropping off
Mm-hmm.
our order. And then you'll have a salesman once in a while stop in.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's phone calls. So, I mean, it's weird. And there's downtime at every job, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, in parts, there's more than you think going on.
Yeah.
And on the other side of it, getting the system to work with us, not against us on what we should have on hand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always just kind of double checking stuff, making sure like we do have things, because Joe, he'll definitely recommend like, hey, make sure to have this on hand anytime he comes in and
Mm-hmm.
grabs what we think is maybe a random part. He's like, really, we should have 2 or 3 of these.
Okay.
So I was always trying to make a note of that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always that going on. And I think there's some other things, that we could probably stay busier with, as any department. It's like there's maybe always something more we can do.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How do you kind of keep track of everything so you know that you have it all?
I mean, currently right now, just a visual walkthrough,
Okay.
if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty religious on walking through like the main aisles and
Mm-hmm.
checking the main drawers of what we should have. It's always frustrating when we don't have a key.
Yeah.
That's a big one. So always checking if we have keys in the blanks, tires, oil
Mm-hmm.
filters, air filters, inserts. The big one is trying not to run back and forth Honda.
Yeah.
Since we do all the used stuff, right?
Yeah.
On the Honda vehicles, it's always making sure we have the filters and the inserts.
Okay.
Things of that nature. So it's just, for me, it's a lot of physical checking.
Yeah.
Or just going through part numbers on the computer.
How many steps would you say you get in a day?
So that's a good one. I can't reach Van Bosch's goal.
Okay.
But yeah, I try to get around 10.
Okay.
So yeah.
Very nice.
That's not too bad. It could probably be more. So
I feel like you have the days where you're probably a little bit higher, and then some days I'm sure a little bit lower too, depending on what all comes in or what you need to do. But
totally. Especially like if Bruce is gone or Bryce is gone, that's 30%, 33% of your manpower gone, right? So yeah, your steps go, definitely kind of through the roof than a normal day.
Yeah.
So yeah. And it's crazy how it can just be kind of dead.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has what they need. And then you have like 4 technicians push all these orders through,
Mm-hmm.
Or a body shop order comes in, or somebody calls and you're wrapped up on the phone for a half an hour.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would want people to know about you or would like to share?
I think that's everything.
Got it all?
Yeah.
Perfect.
I think we hit everything on the head.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of EideCast Is This Thing On? And thank you, Alex, for joining us.
Absolutely.